Hi guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another episode, reaction and review, and this is to the, I believe, the 15th episode of MLP. Yes, which is 246. Great. I don't know anything about this episode other than there are two cute female ponies added to it. That I saw a GIF of a couple of the characters over on Facebook, and I'm like, what episode are those characters from? I think it's from this one. So let's go ahead and begin and see, hopefully, what cuteness and adorableness awaits. Maybe it's the next episode that they're featured in. So let's begin. Start of the video. Okay, start recording. Start the video. In 3, 2, 1, flip.
I have to admit, I was a little shocked when Princess Celestia told me she wanted to start a scholastic buckball league, but I was even more surprised that she wanted the first game to be between her school and ours. Apparently, she's a huge sports fan.
I always thought
Celestia?
Jack, just with really wavy hair.
Anyway, we don't have much time. The game is in 2 weeks, and I want all of you to coach the team.
Oh boy.
I know how you feel. Young athletes ready to take the field. Ooh, you can almost breathe in the excitement.
I don't think you should breathe it in so hard.
It's just 2 weeks doesn't feel like a whole lot of time to train a whole team. Maybe the School of Magic could play a few other schools first, like the Mane and Tail Styling College or the Scroll Making Institute.
Relax, you're gonna do just fine.
What makes you so sure?
Because I have faith in my friends, who also happen to be the best buckball players in Equestria!
Dang. Instinct.
I guess that is sort of true.
Rainbow Dash to help too, but I'm not sure where she...
Sorry I'm late, but when
There she
Twilight said she needed my help with the buckball team, I figured I better grab every piece of coaching equipment I could find.
Okay.
So, what should I focus on? Offense, defense, trick plays?
I was thinking of something even more important.
Awesome! Lay it on me. Whatever it is, I'll give it 120%.
I knew I could count on your enthusiasm.
20%.
That's why I want you to coach the cheer squad.
What?
Cheerleading?
Yeah, this doesn't really seem like Rainbow style. Okay, a few things to mention. First off, I didn't know Celestia was a sports fan at all. Like, I don't recall there ever being any implication of that whatsoever in any of the episodes, not that I recall. So that's kind of interesting. Also, yeah, really good continuity with Fluttershy, Pinky, and Snips or Snails, whichever one. But Rainbow cheerleading coach, yeah, not her thing.
I don't mean to sound ungrateful. It's just, when you said you wanted my help with something important, I thought you meant something important.
The cheer squad is important.
Oh, well, sure.
You're talking to the girl who turned her boyfriend into a head in Lollipop Chainsaw, alright? You're talking to Twilight Sparkle / Juliet Starling here.
Though I don't know why they would.
Well, maybe this will be a good opportunity for you to find out.
Of course I've seen cheer squads before, on the sidelines, but I'm not even 100% sure what they do. I'll probably just mess it up.
I think you might be surprised. In fact, I'm more sure than ever that you're the perfect choice.
I'm actually 120% sure. And it's a good thing, too. The cheer squad really needs you.
What do you mean?
Well, I've been helping out. And let's put it this way. We've got 2 weeks until the big game, and we could use 2 years. But that's all gonna change.
Are you just here for the cheerleaders?
To save the day.
Okay. So why are you here?
What?
For the cheerleaders.
You can't show school spirit?
You don't even go to this school.
Okay, when I went to the Buckball Hall of Fame, I found out buckball souvenirs are big bits. If Twilight's team does well, I can start selling them full-time in Ponyville. So I have a vested interest, and you have an assistant coach.
You're also here for the cheerleaders.
She's here! Get the lights!
There they are!
Over and over and over again! We want to dance for each other and for all of our friends.
I like them already.
Right.
They're cute.
I've seen you two around school, haven't I?
I'm Shimmy Shake, and this is Light Hoof.
And we are your lead dancers.
I like them.
I didn't know you three would be here.
You know what to cheer and make Pony Pyramid! And I thought this could be my chance to make an impression on every pony. You know, for something other than changing shape.
I didn't realize you were into school spirit.
Ah.
I just came with these two. Guess they think you can make Cheer Squad cool or something. Don't count on it.
Okay, now that we're all
Again,
here,
those two characters, I love
what's
them.
the plan? How are you gonna
Shimmy,
make
shake,
us
and
into
light
the
hoof.
most awesome
Like
cheer
them.
squad ever?
You just want to see the cheerleaders dance, don't
I
you?
mean, if you guys were an actual buckball team, I'd have plenty of ideas. But I don't know anything about cheerleading.
Oh, yes, a good one, Coach. But Headmare Twilight picked you for the job, so I'm pretty sure you know what you're doing.
If you say so.
Right. Okay, gang, let's show Rainbow Dash what we've been working on, and she can take it from there.
Cheer Squad can do that!
Yep. All we need is a little music.
Q80s montage.
Over and over and over again!
How about...
We want to dance for each other and for all of our friends!
Okay, they're good.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Friendship school is really
Oh, smoke machine. Nice.
That was a disaster.
It's kind of hard to stick to our choreography when the floor is moving.
Yeah, Iana, your stumps are a little too powerful.
Can we make Pony Pyramid instead? Maybe we should figure out what cheers we should do first.
Yeah, because that'll fix everything.
So, I mean, there's a lot of problems, but nothing you can't solve, right?
Huh? Oh, yeah, listen, you guys don't have anything to worry about.
We don't?
Nope. In fact, I think what you all just did is totally fine. You guys have got this. So, I'm just gonna head down to the field. Great practice, every pony!
Yeah, okay. Okay. She just neglected her assignment.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You gotta come back and coach the squad!
I watched some cheer stuff. Looked fine to me.
Well, it's not. Do you know what'll happen if they do what they just did at the big game?
Nothing?
Wrong. A good cheer squad gets the fans excited, which gets the team excited. But if no pony's excited, then no pony buys any souvenirs.
I think you're blowing this a little out of proportion.
Point is, if I'm going to make any bits at these games, that squad has to get better. And to do that, they need a coach.
No.
So you're kind of just doing this for yourself.
Why don't you do it? I mean, you're the one with a vested interest.
Oh no.
The trick to being a good buckball keeper is to
Give an idiot a gun or the power to nuke the world and they'll do it.
The ball.
Balls don't have minds.
Exactly.
Okay.
Where's my black?
Why are you watching Snail's weird practice when you're supposed to be practicing with us? Snail's practice is definitely weird. I thought Snips was practicing with you. He was.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to dance in this stuff? Plus, all these buttons jingle so much you can't hear my cheers.
Speaking up might help a little. So, don't dance and cheer. Then what cheer squad do?
That looks like the Cat in the Hat
Sure,
hat.
or whatever. You're the coach. You're supposed to come up with stuff for us to do.
Okay. I've got something for you to do.
Just do nothing. Empty your minds. Be the squad.
We are the squad.
Oh, yeah.
At least helping sell my souvenirs was something.
You'll still not understand how this makes us better. Huh? Professor Dash needs to stay and coach.
Gah. You guys asked me to come up with something, and I did.
I don't think nothing counts.
Then I'm out of ideas.
This is the School of Friendship. If you need ideas, you should ask your friends for help.
Fine.
Don't think that'll help. Also, don't think that'll help.
Okay. Since you guys have been nagging me non-stop about this cheer stuff for like ever,
It has literally been one day.
I went around and got everything you need.
What are we supposed to do with hay?
Beats me, but Applejack seemed pretty sure about it. Oh, I almost forgot.
A rhyming dictionary?
Yeah, Zakura's a lot less helpful than you think. That's from the library, so you can come up with cheers. Okay, good practice.
So, you're just leaving again?
Duh. Look, I talked to my friends, and they said this is the stuff you need. Wouldn't a true cheer squad be able to figure out what to do with it?
But Fluttershy and Pinky wanted us to show them everything we come up with tomorrow.
They want us to get the team all excited before the big game.
Well, then it's a good thing I got you all this stuff. You better get to work.
Don't look at me.
Good work, every pony. Let's take a break.
Yeah! Wow, this team is really shaping up. Nice job.
Thanks. I'm excited to see what you've been up to.
Oh boy.
Yeah!
Oh no.
I'd like to see the cheer squad.
Oh, you're serious.
Well, I'm sure you've put in a lot of hard work.
How much work does cheer squad need?
Anybody want to buy an official School of Friendship Cheer Squad headband? Now, I personally would buy them before the performance.
Over and over and over again.
We want to dance for each other and for all of our friends.
School of Friendship. Rah, rah, rah.
Let's win this game and hit the... Oh, what brings it draw? Spa?
Uh-oh.
Luna!
Oh crap.
I know I said I couldn't wait to see the cheer squad, but maybe I could have waited just a teensy bit longer.
Oh yeah! Nice one!
Huh?
Oh boy.
What?
Oh.
I don't know what every pony's so upset about. So it wasn't great. Cheerleading's never great. That's why every pony gets up to get a snack during it. What is the big deal?
If you don't know, there's no point in us trying to explain it to you.
Lead dancers out.
Huh? It's not that we were bad. It's that you didn't even want to try to help us get better.
Didn't try? What are you talking about? I got you a party cannon. It's not my fault you couldn't figure out how to use it right.
Well, you could have shown us!
Oh, ponies might actually care about Cheer Squad if she cheered like that all the time.
Why would you say ponies don't care about Cheer Squad?
Because they don't.
No, you don't. But they do. I bet Headmare Twilight does. And you know what? I do too. I actually got excited when I found out you were going to be our coach. I figured if any pony can make Cheer Squad awesome, it's you.
Me? Why?
Because everything's always awesome with you. Or 20% cooler. Or whatever. You're the most enthusiastic pony in Equestria when it's something you care about.
Oh.
I just wish we were one of those things.
Ouch.
And it looks like my assistant cheer coach / souvenir selling business is a bust. So I'm gonna take off, unless you can think of something else for me to do.
Maybe I can.
Yes, I love noises! Ah!
Squad meeting, outside, ASAP! Dance ponies, buckball field, pronto!
And you're in a position to look up her skirt. Alright. That's the gift that I saw.
And get out here and join your squad!
So what? Is there some new button you want to sell?
Not a button.
Not this again.
Sorry, we're not buying.
Wait! Look, I know I haven't been a great coach because I don't care about cheerleading. But all of you do. And I care about you. So I guess maybe I care about Cheer Squad. And a good friend reminded me that I can make anything I care about totally awesome. So, from now on, I'm gonna give this thing 120%. And I expect the same from you. We are gonna dance. We are gonna cheer. We're gonna make the biggest pony pyramid Equestria's ever seen. And when we're done, we're gonna make sure every pony on that field is so pumped up, they'll forget they even came to see a game.
Yeah, but not so pumped up that they forget to buy a pennant, or a button, or a quality souvenir t-shirt. What?
Really? That'll work. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. I was kind of hoping it would send him flying across the field. Ooh, I love the character designs. Celestia.
I realize the game of buckball traditionally
Starlight.
requires an earth pony, a pegasus, and a unicorn, but I appreciate you allowing my students to compete.
Of course. And the wings and magical dampening ring you made seem to be working really well.
Indeed, though not as well as your team.
Most nervous I've ever been. And that's saying something.
I know how you feel.
Don't worry. Celestia's team might be tough, but we can still win this thing.
What? Oh yeah, totally. But I wasn't talking about the game. Come on.
And that's the end of the first half.
Yeah! Sorry, can't talk right now.
I sure hope Dash being nervous is a good sign.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
We'll cheer for our team till the very end.
May we call you to the halftime show? We're the Friendship Squad, and we're ready to go. We're here to cheer and get you all excited. If you'd like to join in, then you're all invited. It's a simple cheer, so don't chime in late. It goes 2, 4, 6, great!
Dang!
Not bad, right?
They were awesome!
Well,
Better than the actual halftime show during the Super Bowl this year, which I don't watch football, but SpongeBob was a bust.
And that's the game. Final score, School of Magic 5, School of Friendship 4.
Nice work, everyone. You can't win them all. Sometimes that's just how the cupcake crumbles.
you guys were amazing! It was flawless. I can't think of any way that could have been better.
We could have won the game.
That game was just a sideshow. You guys were the main event!
I'm glad to see such good sports ponyship on display. Your cheer squad was an inspiration, Rainbow
She's
Dash.
gonna gloat, isn't she?
I'll have to start one at my school as well.
Wow, Rainbow Dash. It's almost like you were the perfect pony to coach Cheer Squad after all.
Wait a second. Was this one of those things where you knew the lesson I needed to learn before I learned it?
You mean like how you don't have to care about a thing other ponies like as long as you care about the ponies who like it? Nope, don't know what you're talking about.
Nicely done.
Oh, that was adorable. I really enjoyed this episode. I really did. I can totally. I can see the relatability with this episode personally. Basically, the concept was Rainbow. Rainbow was put in a position to that she's the athletic type. She's about sports. She's enthusiastic. She's a sports type of pony. She's the one that she doesn't mind getting her hooves dirty. She's the one that just jumps in, and she wanted to be able to help the rest of the team, by preparing physically. But she was put in a position that she did not want, where she had to suddenly coach the cheerleading squad. And she didn't really think there was, pardon me, she honestly didn't think that there was anything to it, And honestly, I'm not whatsoever saying that Rainbow was right in this. I mean, there were some aspects where Rainbow was wrong, yes. But I want to clarify, Rainbow's aspects of being wrong here does not mean that she's a bad person or a bad pony. It's one of those life lessons that you have to learn. And Rainbow's perspective on cheerleading, I'm sure, very much mimics the personalities, the attitudes toward it that some people have. Some people just watch sports just for the main event itself. They don't have any interest in the cheerleading or anything else that isn't pertaining to the actual game or pertaining to the actual sport. And so I can totally understand that, although I'm pretty sure there's a good portion of people that probably watch football probably just for the cheerleaders. Personally, I'm not a sports fan, and I'm not into just watching it just for the cheerleaders. I'm not interested in sports in general, and I'm definitely not going to make a habit out of watching football just for the cheerleaders. That's not my kind of thing. But Rainbow, she didn't think there was anything to the cheerleading. She honestly didn't think there was anything to it. She didn't think it was a big deal. And this I see it kind of a bit of a similarity. It's a bit of a similarity, not a major similarity, but if we go back to Silverstream, whenever she wanted help with something that she thought was important, but Starlight Glimmer didn't think that it was important. And this is honestly, I can totally see Rainbow's perspective here. Rainbow, she did not think that the cheerleading aspect was important, and so she didn't think there was any real need to practice. She didn't think that any pony cared about it. However, she was wrong. There were ponies that actually cared about the cheer squad and actually wanted the cheer squad to be good. And Twilight knew this. And so Rainbow here kind of had a closed-minded attitude, and Twilight had a more open-minded perspective. That she knew that both that the cheerleading was a very important aspect, just like the actual team that played in the game. Rainbow, however, was closed-minded because she thought ponies only cared about the actual sport and not about the cheerleading or anything like that. And honestly, I can see both perspectives. I'm not saying whatsoever. I'm not condoning Rainbow's personality, but I kind of see a similarity with Rainbow's perspective on. I see a similarity with Rainbow's perspective on not thinking that cheerleading is a big deal to how some of us, Bronies and Pegasisters, initially perceived MLP. Like Rainbow, we were closed-minded. Some of us, before we started watching the show, we didn't think there was anything to it. We didn't think anything of it. We didn't think it, that we would like it. However, we ended up giving it a shot, or someone got us to give it a try, and we learned. We became open-minded, and we learned that. And I can honestly relate to Rainbow here because before becoming a brony, I honestly was more closed-minded of things. But once I became a brony, I became more open-minded to things around me. And so I'm very proud of, and I'm very thankful for that. Because the brony fandom itself helped me to open my eyes to things, to different possibilities and things beyond of my initial perception. And so I'm very grateful for that, and I honestly owe the fandom for that. And so I was kind of like Rainbow earlier in the beginning, as I'm sure many of us were. And this is one of those scenarios here. Now, going to the actual thing, Rainbow had no interest in helping the team. She had no interest in helping the rest of the team or helping the cheer squad because it was not something that she had an interest in. It was not, she had no interest in it whatsoever. She only wanted to focus. She wanted to be a part of the actual sports thing, of the actual, she wanted to be there with what she thought was the action and see the sports. She didn't want to be a part of the smaller, what she considered the smaller aspect, which was cheerleading. And I remember seeing a similar setup before. I don't remember what show or TV, what movie or TV show that it was. But basically, I remember something before where someone wanted to be a part of what they thought was something bigger. But they did not know. They initially thought anything outside of the big concept, that there wasn't anything important to it. But in actuality, every little small part was a key component in helping to make that thing an actual reality. And they didn't see it that way originally. But then once they opened their eyes and realized and opened their minds and began to understand that every single smaller key component, even if they thought it was a small component and it wasn't important, it turned out it was important to help to make the big thing, the big picture, actually come to fruition. And here, this is basically what Rainbow's initial concept was. This is kind of like, she didn't think that the cheerleading was a key component. She didn't think it was important, and she wanted to be a part of the main thing. I can honestly see a bit of a similarity thing with, like, maybe a school play or some sort of play that is having, and you want to be a part of the big picture. You want to be maybe one of the actors or something, but you're tasked with being someone who's helping with costumes or helping set up the props. And initially you think nobody's going to care about this. But as it turns out, you experience it and you realize it's a big deal. It's a big job as well, and it's very important because you're sort of, in a way, you're kind of like the backbone to the big picture, to try to help it actually happen. And so that's kind of what was going on here. And it's kind of like somebody that might look at someone that might look at a vehicle and think, well, nobody's going to pay any attention to this, but it's still a key component. And it's also, you can apply this sort of logic to many other areas as well. It's kind of like with Well, I want to compare it also to like BronyCon. You know, you might think that the big events and things were the big things, the big picture, but there were a lot of people that worked behind the scenes that were part of the staff that helped to put all of that on, to to organize things, to place everything, to get everything set up. And so there was a lot of key people that helped to make all of that happen. And so on a visual surface, we didn't know what went on behind the scenes, that all the people that helped to get everything going, but they were a part of that. Here, Rainbow kind of wanted to be like on the surface of BronyCon, where she kind of wanted to be a part of that and see all of the big events, but she was tasked with being, helping with some of the smaller things, what what other people consider big things, but yeah, at the same time, it was very much important. And so Rainbow here, yeah, Rainbow was she was closed-minded. Basically, what Twilight said later was exactly that. Rainbow, actually, it was what Smolder said to Rainbow Dash was very much true. And it's honestly relatable. For Rainbow, she is able to focus on something whenever she cares about it. But basically, if it wasn't something that she cared about, she wasn't able to focus on it. Now, I'm not going to lie, I relate to Rainbow Dash on this. I do, I honestly do. Because there are times whenever I myself, and I'm not saying this whatsoever because I'm trying to paint Rainbow in a better light. I'm not saying that whatsoever. If anything, I'm sort of condemning myself here because I'm guilty of it. And the thing is, I know a lot of other people feel that exact same way. There are times like Rainbow Dash here, whenever you don't have an interest in something, and because you don't have an interest in it, you're not going to put full effort or full attention into it. A kind of a thing is where maybe like a parent tells you you're going to go to this place and you're going to like it, and so you kind of take on the rebellious state, and you're like, no, I'm not going to like it. So you make yourself not like it so that you can say, ha, I didn't enjoy it. You kind of rebel. I think a lot of us are guilty of that. But I do relate to Rainbow Dash because honestly, I put more attention and focus to YouTube than I do work. Because YouTube makes me happy, work does not. So I honestly relate to that. Like I'm not someone that goes to work, I'm not someone that kisses butt, and that's basically me. And I know I probably should feel bad about that, but I know I'm not the only one. I know for a fact I'm not the only one. Chances are, if you have a job that you don't really care for or that you're not into, you're not going to put any more focus into it or effort into it than necessary. There are plenty of people I know that would say, well, go the extra mile even if you don't have anything for it. That's you. And that's totally fine, but I really relate to Rainbow Dash here. And it's not just that. It's not just that. I can kind of try a bit of a different hobby. If I try like a different hobby for something, or I try watching another show and I'm just not really into it, I won't focus on it as much. But if I'm really into it, I'll be able to focus more on it. And I think a lot of us are like that. But most of the time, I think the only person that we're hurting kind of is ourselves whenever we do that. There kind of was a difference here in that Rainbow, because she wasn't focusing on something that she didn't have an interest in, it was hurting the rest of the cheer squad, and they weren't able to practice because she was their coach, and she was tasked with that, and she was neglecting, because she didn't have an interest in it, she was neglecting the tasks that she was supposed to do. I will not say job, because I don't believe in calling something like this a job unless you get paid for it. That's just my mentality. If you do something and you get paid for it, it's a job. If you do something and you don't get paid for it, it's a task. That's how I think. So she had a task here that she was given, and an assignment, and she did not do it because she didn't have an interest in it. And because of her slacking off, it made the rest of everyone else not be able to focus. You know, they couldn't practice, they couldn't prepare, and they didn't have anyone to help them and help them to improve. And I also kind of saw a similarity whenever Ocellus made the remark, whenever Rainbow Dash made the remark that they should have been able to have figured it out, and Ocellus made the remark to Rainbow that she should have showed them or told them what to do. I kind of saw a similarity with people that act like, or people that try to be critics on YouTube and on fan fiction and on art and on animation, that, you know, they have a sort of mentality that they expect you to automatically know how to do better or what to do to get better, and so they don't really put any effort forth to try to help you to get better, and so it just comes off more as negative. And I don't agree with that, and so I sort of saw a similarity here. You know, a good critic to me is someone who's going to help you, who's going to offer pointers and tips to try to help you to improve. And so it was also, I really enjoyed the dialogue here with Ocellus, with Smolder and Rainbow Dash, with Smolder revealing that Rainbow pretty much was someone, you know, she was the enthusiastic pony, and she was always up for trying something, and Smolder was actually looking forward to it because Rainbow was someone that she thought would be able to put forth the effort. But as it turned out, Rainbow didn't have the focus on it because it wasn't something that she had an interest in. However, there was a lesson that Rainbow learned, which is something that Twilight basically told Rainbow that she would end up learning, which was very interesting. That Rainbow may not have had an interest in cheerleading itself, but she may not have cared about cheerleading as a whole, but she cared about her friends. And yeah, I have to agree with that. You know, even if you don't have an interest in something, you know, even if you don't have an interest in something like that, you know, you should at least have the decency, the common courtesy to want to help your friends to get better and to try to help them to be better if they want your help, or if you want to help them to improve. Even if you don't have an interest in it, you'll help because because they're your friends and you want to see them to grow because, you know, it's important to them. And I honestly really relate to this. You know, I honestly really relate to this because there have been a couple of times where there have been a couple of times, not very much, but there have been a couple of times where someone would ask me what my thoughts were on something. Honestly, I can't remember directly what it was, but I remember there was a time or two that someone asked me about my opinion on something. And I told them that that wasn't particularly an area that I delved in. Like, didn't really know much about it, but I would try to give what thoughts that I could on it, because I knew it was important to them, and I wanted to try to help them to see, you know, to see if I could help them to improve because I knew it was important to them. And that was the lesson here. And realistically, like I said, I know for a fact that some people would sort of condemn Rainbow Dash here and say that, you know, that she should not have had to learn this lesson, that she should already know this. But realistically, no, I don't believe that, because the fact is, every one of us, we're not done learning life lessons ourselves. We're not done learning. If there is anyone out there that would comment on this video and say, I knew all of these lessons already years ago. I know all there is to learn, you know, about friendship. I don't have to learn anything else. I won't believe you, because there is never a moment in life where you are done learning. You are always learning something about yourself, life, friends, family, love, friendship. You're always learning something. There's always something to learn. And Rainbow, she may have been in a sort of a selfish position here. I'm not saying directly 100% that that's a bad thing, because some of us are guilty of that, myself included. But Rainbow was able to open her mind and let go of that selfishness to instead she put herself and her own selfish interests aside to focus on helping her friends. And whenever she started focusing on helping her friends, she was able to have fun and actually be concerned about their performance, how they would do, and wanted them to be able to do good, because she knew that it was important to them, and she was able to actually have fun. Realistically, this is honestly understandable and very much relatable, because there are times whenever you might perceive something as not being something that you have an interest in. However, a friend will have an interest in it, and you'll start helping them with it. You'll uncover an interest in it yourself, and you'll be able to focus better. And like I said, I'm not whatsoever condemning Rainbow Dash, and I know others would say that this was kind of a bad episode for Rainbow Dash. Honestly, I would say this was a realistic episode for her, because I'm guilty of being in the exact same position as Rainbow Dash. I'm totally guilty of that. Like I said, initially, whenever I first saw MLP back in 2011, honestly, I didn't think that I would like the show. I thought, this is a show for little girls. I'm not going to, why would I watch this? Here I am all this time. I'm reviewing an episode. And I'm a hardcore brony. So, yeah, I can relate to that. I can relate to Rainbow Dash. But this was a very interesting episode in that way. Rainbow, we saw another kind of a glimpse of Rainbow Dash, is that there are times whenever she does focus on something that she just has an interest in, and not on things that she doesn't have an interest in. I can relate to this. I can fully relate to this. I'm not going to say that I'm not. I'm guilty of this myself. Have been lots of times, actually, where I would just focus on something that I had an interest in, not on something that I didn't. And generally, though, for me, the times that occurred, whenever I didn't focus on something that I had no interest in, affecting anyone else. So I didn't really have to worry about it. For example, someone else, for example, at work, everybody that I work with, except for maybe one other guy, seems to have an interest in football. I don't have an interest in football whatsoever, so I don't focus on it, anything. But there were times whenever this other guy, he would talk to me about football, he would talk to me about plays and about the players, and basically I would just nod and be like, oh, uh-huh. And I would kind of listen to what he was saying, but I was also thinking to myself, I'm going to forget all this later, because I had no interest in football, and I knew that I was not going to delve into it. But I listened to it because he had an interest in it, and so I was being open-minded to him telling me about it, but I knew that it wasn't something that I was going to be looking into myself or following. So that was something that started happening. At first I think I was more closed-minded to it, and I kind of just tuned him out. But then I kind of started thinking to myself, well, obviously he cares about it. He's actually confiding in me about it. He's telling me about it, so maybe I should listen. So I started listening more to what he was saying. I'll be honest, I don't remember a thing about it. I don't remember anything he told me. I don't remember a thing. But I do relate to that, because it's just, to be honest, that's how some of us are. And it's generally, it doesn't really affect anyone else. Here it did, and Rainbow had to learn a lesson for that. And honestly, this is very much a relatable lesson, a moral, in that sometimes we are guilty of that. We'll focus more on things that we haven't, and it's also natural. You focus more on something you have an interest in, less on things you don't have an interest in. It's natural. Like I said, I have no interest in football whatsoever. So I don't care. I don't focus on it. If someone wanted to talk to me about football, I would kind of listen, but I'm just not into football, so I can't give you my thoughts on anything because I don't follow it. But this was a good episode for that. And it was also interesting because Twilight knew. She knew the lesson that Rainbow Dash needed to learn. And she knew that this was something that Rainbow needed to figure out on her own. And that's why she appointed Rainbow Dash to be a part of this, was because she knew that it would be a sort of a life, it would be it would be a character building moment and a maturity moment for Rainbow, because Rainbow would be able to figure this out about herself and also learn something very, very much important. And so it was very interesting how that played out, and I honestly really loved it. It really did fit, and it was really cool. And honestly, just like real life, sometimes you learn a lesson like this, it helps you down the road, and it makes you a better person because of it. Whenever you're mature enough to be able to accept your flaws, accept the mistakes that you've made, own up to them, and be able to kind of move past that. Believe me, I know it's hard, but you know, like whenever you can kind of accept that to a degree and move on and acknowledge that, and basically mentally or physically, completely outwardly tell yourself, I want to do better, you know. So I really enjoyed this episode because of that. And it was also interesting because each of the characters here, we got to see some development with the building of this cheer squad, which was really cool. And the cast of characters that was a part of this cheer squad was also very much cool as well. I really enjoyed it. It was very interesting to see Smolder, you know, who wasn't really... She's basically like Rainbow Dash. She's a tomboy. So it was interesting to see her actually want to be part of a cheer squad. And Ocellus as well was interesting because at first she was more timid, she was more shy, but she was able to kind of come out of her shell and be able to cheer with a megaphone, which was also really cool. These other characters here, Shimmy Shake and Light Hoof, I love these little characters. They're so cute. I love them. But, ooh, I wonder now, oh my gosh. This is season 9. I know we won't get it, but I'm now wondering if someone's going to do a fan fiction where Sandbar finds out that Yona is a cheerleader, so he ends up joining the hoofball team so that he can be like the hoofball jock, you know, the cheerleader and the jock, you know. That, I want to see that. Come on, someone write a story of that, alright? I want to read it. I want to read it, alright? Come on, someone do it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I honestly really thought it was a really good episode. It was cute, it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. It's definitely not one of my favorites of season 9 completely, but it was a favorable episode for me. It was a very fun episode. It was cute, it was sweet, and I really did enjoy the moral to it. You know, it was very much a relatable moral, and it was interesting to see Twilight be in that perspective of her like the wise teacher here. But like I said, I had to make the connection because here Twilight makes the remark that cheerleading is important. Hello! Lollipop Chainsaw! This is why Twilight thinks cheerleading is important, yo. This is why. Because she was a cheerleader at one point in time. If you played Lollipop Chainsaw, you know Tara Strong voices Juliet Starling in this game. And she uses Twilight's voice, so it's... Yeah, okay, look, if you've never played Lollipop Chainsaw, get it, play it. It's a riot. It's hilarious. It's fun. It honestly is. Part of me thinks that the game came out just because it just part of me thinks to a degree that the game came out just for the bronies because of some of the stuff in it. But yeah, this is why. Actually, I wonder if the person that wrote this episode, if they happened to play this game and they thought, I'm going to do an episode where Twilight makes a remark about cheerleading being important. Because she at one point was, alright? Juliet Starling, Twilight Sparkle. Come on! And like I said, I made the remark that Snips here, he was just there for the cheerleaders. That's, okay, he was kind of I guess the captain of the cheer squad. But it was interesting to see that set up. But again, I love these two characters here. Like, these two characters are definitely two of my favorite characters. And this GIF here was the one that I saw where they suddenly hear something behind them. And this one character looks behind her, between her legs, and it just so happens Snips is standing here behind her, looking up her skirt. And the skirts are short enough. Yeah, he's totally looking up her skirt. And like I said, I also love some of these additional background characters. This character here was really cool. I love her design. This one character here that had the glimmer wings. These were similar to the wings used, I think, in the MLP Gameloft game. Whenever you had the flying ability. And yeah, this character here is definitely. I love this character's design. I also love this other character over here too. With this other Pegasus here and this other background character. Love the designs for the characters. And like I said, the glimmer wings. Honestly, at first I thought, wait, does she actually have those wings? Are they legit? It turns out, no, that they were given to her as part of that. But it was really fun to see Celestia here. Oh, okay, Sandbar is there, so he is watching Yona. I just now noticed that. Sandbar is there watching Yona. Alright, alright. And again, Celestia, as a hoofball fan, this is hilarious. And Twilight's probably deaf right now because you have someone who sits beside you who uses the Royal Canterlot voice. Twilight's probably deaf at this point. Like, a nuclear bomb could go off, probably, and Twilight would not even hear it right now. Like I said, these two characters here are two of my favorite characters. I love these little characters. And I had to make I made the mention about the halftime show. Like I said, I don't watch football. I never have. I'm not a fan. But I did hear about the hype of Sweet Victory being played at this year's Super Bowl during the halftime show. And I heard about the hype, and then after the game, immediately I heard that it bombed because they didn't even, they played, just a few seconds of the beginning to Sweet Victory, and then it changed to Maroon 5 doing Sicko Mode, and just the multitude of people's disappointment and feeling of betrayal. And then a hockey game ended up playing Sweet Victory. It did a better homage and honor to Steven Hillenburg than the halftime show did. So, yeah, I heard about that. I read about it. I've seen videos about it on YouTube. So, that's why I said this right here was a better halftime show than what Maroon 5 put on. So, yeah, it's funny whenever My Little Pony beats out Maroon 5 for a halftime show. You know you're doing something wrong whenever My Little Pony beats you out for a halftime show. They should have played this at the halftime show. This would have been better than Maroon 5's Sicko Mode. Granted, I haven't heard the song, and I don't want to, especially not considering that it took away Sweet Victory. But honestly, for some reason, whenever I think of Sicko Mode, like I said, I've never heard the song. I don't want to. But whenever I think of Sicko Mode, I think, for some reason, immediately I think of Skillet's Sick of It. And then immediately I think about the lyrics to Sick of It by Skillet. And the lyrics to that song are relatable for how I think people felt during the halftime show. Sick of it. They were sick of it because they wanted Sweet Victory. Instead, they got Sicko Mode. And so, like Skillet's song, Sick of It, they were sick of it. Also, another little thing that I do enjoy is at the end of this, they didn't win. Honestly, I think it's really awesome as well that they didn't win the game. And basically, they could have won, but I'm really glad. I think it's cool that they did not win the game because it does show that, you don't always 100% win. You don't always come out on top. But here, they displayed good sportsmanship and not feeling down about it. They were just happy that they did as good as they did. They put the effort in that they did, and they still had fun, and that was the really important thing. Also, I'm really glad that Celestia and the other team did not gloat about it either. I was kind of wondering if Celestia would gloat. I think it's also a good thing, I think it also is good sportsmanship that Celestia didn't gloat either. because it would have seemed a little bit out of character for her. Although I know some would have enjoyed it and thought it was humorous, I think it's also cool that she did not gloat about it either. And I think this little hoof bump between Twilight and Celestia at the end was also really cute. I did feel bad for them here whenever Rainbow walks by and says you guys were amazing, and then they feel down because Rainbow wasn't talking to them. The only thing that I wish that kind of would have been done different with this episode is instead of showing these characters here, be feeling kind of down about it, I do kind of wish that it would have showed, it did show Pinky and Fluttershy here gathered at the end. I kind of wish it would have showed that, the other members of the Hoofball team having been there as well, and also being Smiles, because I don't like seeing the characters feeling down. I don't. So I do kind of wish that would have been present. But again, I did really enjoy this episode. I enjoyed the moral of it as well. And this was a very cute, very fun episode. And some interesting, adorable new characters were introduced. I also love that as well. But I really did enjoy this episode. So again, Hasbro, DHX, everybody that worked on this episode, thank you guys so much. Thank you all so much for this. This was a real for me. I really enjoyed this episode. It was very, very fun. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody so much. And thank you guys again for joining me as well. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.